Before the formation of Fireman Council, firemen were facing a lot of problems and there was nobody to take care of their grievances. There was no limitation for duty hours. Sometimes the duty hours will spread up to 24 hours in a steam locomotive. Basing on these difficulties, facing these horrible difficulties, the firemen were forced to form themselves in a formation of Fireman Council in Southern Railway at Koilon, Madurai, Tiruchirappalli and Erode. They struck work in 1965, demanding 8 hours duty. But they were brutally suppressed by the railway bureaucracy in connivance with the so-called recognized unions, that is, Southern Railway Mazdoor Union and Southern Railway Employees Sank in Southern Railway. And again in 1967, they were forced to agitate. That also went without any solution. They had to face very stiff and stringent action by the victimization and action by the railway officers. They were ordered with break-in service and one of our leader, Comrade Sabhavati of Trichy division was transferred to Shimoga in Mysore division, which was in Southern Railway at that time. Koilon, Comrade Hercules Madhavambilla and PC Angel and some other leaders were in front for the formation of the Fireman Council. And in Madurai, Comrade Paul David Sam and R.S. Pandian were in the forefront to lead the agitations. Again in 1967, there was an upsurge in Southern Railway. But no success could be reached, and it was also a failure because there was no support from the drivers and A-grade fireman at that time, because this Fireman Council was actually first. It was against recruiting A-grade firemen through railway recruitment boards or railway service commission. And also in 1968, July, a still stronger unification of these fireman councils, including the help of the Fireman Council of Southern Railway, Vijayawada. They went for another strike in August 8, 1968, and that lasted for about 20 or 24 days, which was also brutally addressed by the police and the bureaucracy and the railway administration. In that strike, some more advanced slogans were raised by this Fireman Council, including the help of the then assistant and then A-grade fireman, that is 8 hours duty, equal pay for equal work, and like that. So, the strike lasted for about 22 or more than 20 days, and finally they gave break-in service to so many people because the strike had a very bad effect on train services, running the trains in Southern Railway, Southern Railway, and in other places of Southern Railway, that is Koilon, Ernakulam, and likewise places. Due to the interference of some MPs like Mr. Anandan Nambiar of CPMB and the DRU leader, and the help of Comrade Kalyana Sundaram, then RLU leader, Railway Labour Union leader, and so many other comrades, leaders of CPM, DMK, and other things, the strike could be. We have withdrawn the strike, and it was not a successful one. But in that strike, the demand for our limitation for duty hours at a stretch under the leader of Peter Alvarez and NFIR under the leadership of their central leaders. The railway administration came to an agreement with the recognized federations, limiting the duty of hours of running staff from signing on to signing off to 14 hours. It was not a fair decision or agreement, and the fireman community could not accept it in toto. But the strike, due to the strike in 1968, they had to form a tribunal called Miyabai Tribunal that gave a recommendation to the Government of India and Railways that the duty hours of running staff should be limited to 8 hours, step by step. And by the end of some 12 years, it should be reduced to 8 hours, reducing the duty hours at a stretch half an hour per year. That is called Miyawai Tribunal Award. But even after that award, the railway was not in a position or not in a mood to accept our demands in toto. And they were let loosing all sort of atrocities, punishments, and the punishments of the firemen who took part in the earlier strikes was still standing. Only in 1968 strike result, Comrade Sabhavati was transferred from Shimoga to Trichinopoli division again. And that is the only plus point we got during that fireman strike. And also this Miyawai tribunal appointment and the consequent tribunal award. But we were not satisfied. Then we developed our slogan that with the help of the drivers of Southern Railway, Southern Railway and other people who were having separate unions in separate identity at drivers LT Association, Local Transporter Association, and in other names. And they could gather more strength and to fight against the railways. But meantime, comrades, there was a strike by the central government employees. One-day token strike by the central government in September 1969. That is JCM partners in the central government employees, NFPTE and other unions. But unfortunately, we could not join in that strike because we had earlier bitter experiences of suppression and punishments of earlier fireman strikes and consequent break in service and other things. But we did not keep quiet. The 1969 one-day strike was a central government employee strike with some unions in railways, our Railway Labour Union and other people joined together. And that also was, one-day strike was a success, but that also could not bring any fruitful results. The demand for that 1969 strike was, one, need-based minimum wage, and 8 hours duty, and also other demands like DA and other things. In that strike, the casualty was very high. Say about 8 or 9 people were brutally killed by firing in Indraprastha and in other places of India. That is why we are now remembering that September 69, September 18th strike as memorial. And last year also, the central government employees were having a remembrance of that strike. But the Fireman Council did not keep quiet. They went for a strike in 1970 again for withdrawing the break-in services and other punishments ordered. Meantime, in 1970, there was a unification conference held at Vijayawada on August 25th at Vijayawada. And there the All India Local Runners of Association was formed, unifying all the fireman councils and other small unions of local running staff which were functioning in various names in so many railways. That conference only elected Comrade M.R. Sabavati as its president, P.K. Barua from North Frontier Railway as Secretary General, and Comrade S.K. Dar, Joint Secretary General. Again, on issues of local running staff, we had to fight. We had to go for another strike in 1972 also, 71 and 72. And finally, in 72, a conference, a Central Working Committee was called at Burdwan, where we decided to go for a strike by local running staff of Indian Railways in August 2nd, 1973. That was the strike we conducted from August 2nd, 1973, which lasted for 18 days, paralyzing the entire country. Train services in entire country, including Southern Railway, Southern Railway, and Delhi areas, and Burdwan and other areas of Southeastern Railway, and it was a total stoppage of train services throughout India, where we could create an impact. At that time, Parliament was going on. Srimati Indira Gandhi was reluctant to call our leaders, and both the recognized federations were giving her courage to suppress local running staff association and suppress the strike and punish the local running staff. They tried to do that very beginning, but see, because of the impact was very bad, and due to that time, the peculiarity was that railway has had only steam traction in force. So, if you want to move a locomotive, that requires at minimum 3 persons, and also it is not easy to switch on, recrank, or operate the locomotives as if we can do in diesel or electric locomotives. The Parliament was in session. In the Parliament there was a pandemonium, and all the MPs from cutting across the political lines stood on their heels and asked Ms. Indira Gandhi to call the local running staff association leaders and come for a settlement. Then Srimati Indira Gandhi gave a grace option to both the recognized federations, asking the then Railway Minister Lalit Narayan Misra to call both the recognized federations and ask them to run at least one train from Delhi, because the people were stagnating all platforms and all over India. No train was there, and passengers were stagnating in the platforms, and such a very bad situation was created. Accordingly, they asked both the federations to run at least one train from Delhi, but they could not. And also, the bottleneck of was Vijayawada, that is coming from Delhi as well as other parts, it was a bottleneck, which was a very strong bottleneck. And the association was very strong under the leadership of Comrade Hanumayya. And our other comrades, K. Subramaniam, who was also one of my colleagues at Arkonam, along with Comrade Tota Hanumayya. Finally, the railway administration forced to call our leaders to Delhi, engaging them flights to reach at Delhi. And on arrival, the railway minister, railway board people, under the leadership of then Labour Minister Jagannath Reddy, they conducted a meeting and we put forth our 18-point demands. 18-point demands, like 8 hours duty from signing on to signing off immediately. And other demands, mileage rise, mileage increase, and other things. So, after the discussion, the railway administration put forth a proposal to form a grievance committee, local running staff grievance committee, AILRSA, local running staff grievance committee. And the committee was formed under the leadership of chairmanship of Sri Muhammad Shafi Qureshi from Kashmir, was then Deputy Railway Minister, allowing us that our grievances will be looked in all means, that is by division level, zonal level, railway board level, like that. And we were given a quasi recognition, in fact, quasi recognition. So, that committee had, under the chairmanship of Sri Muhammad Shafi Qureshi, came to Chennai for its first sitting. Then the Southern Railway, Mysore Union and SRES, they showed a back fact to the Deputy Railway Minister who was heading the committee. Because it was a great blow to the recognized federations in Indian Railways, which were enjoying vast privileges under recognition. That is PNM, FNM, and the Railway Board meetings and all. And also other privileges like special casualty for attending their union meetings, and also in transfer and other, they were taking undue privileges, because when we came forward under the purview of this committee to question their rights and the genuinity of transfer and other actions they are doing, they could not do such atrocities. And see, comrades, see, because of the 73 strike was a very great success, because the strike, 14 days strike period was treated as leave due. That is, in the history of Indian Railway, that was the first time a trade union, that to a trade union without any recognition, no, it's a non-recognized trade union, is getting an agreement from the mighty government of India under the leadership of Srimati Indira Gandhi. And an agreement was read in the floor of the Parliament on August 13th, 1973, that no running staff, no member of the local running staff in the country will be asked to work more than 10 hours from signing on to signing off. That was the declaration. After that, the process of the committee was going on, and including division level, the committee was functioning. And we were going for meetings to represent our grievances, and something was, some grievances were settled, but not fully. Because we told the general manager meeting and all, when we go for their meeting, we will be getting accommodation in the AC rooms at the Madras Central. And then the first meeting itself, we had to tell the railway administration that the CPO and CME, M.A. Cherian was head of that meeting, and the CPO Vittal Rao was the chairman of that committee, and the traffic one, B.R.G. Nair was there as a traffic member, and Sudha Ramaswamy was an account member in that committee. So, very first word we were telling them that we are not coming here to have your tea and biscuits and go without any fruitful results. So, we want that whatever things you are committing here should be implemented. And you cannot cheat us like you are cheating the NFIR and AILRSA, that is employees and other people. So they were having immense pressure on our demands, and they were bound to do and rectify the grievances we are putting forth. Like so, you see now, the 1974 general agitation was formed. General strike was called on 1974 May 1st. Because the success of our 1973 strike by local running staff of Indian Railway was the main reason and force behind the decision of the AILRSA and other unions in Indian Railway to go for a railway strike. Then Comrade George Fernandez was the elected president of the All India Railwaymen's Federation. Under his initiative, a committee was formed, NCCRS, that is National Coordination Committee for Railwaymen's Struggle, was formed. And nearly 126 organizations in the country, including local running staff, were party in that meeting. And the demands for the 1974 railway strike was: number one, 8 hours duty for 8 hours duty. Number two, need-based minimum wage. Number three, bonus for all as deferred wages, മാറ്റിവെക്കപ്പെട്ട വേതനം എന്നുള്ള നിലയിൽ deferred wages, bonus for all railwaymen. See, there was a hectic preparation for the strike. Comrade George Fernandez, Comrade Parvati Krishnan, and other leaders were touring all over India. And Comrade Fernandez came to Ernakulam also. And all over India, all nooks and corners, a NCCRS committee was formed. In Ernakulam, I was the secretary of that committee, NCCRS branch committee at Ernakulam. Like that, all over India, committees were formed, and by seeing the hectic and effective preparation of the railwaymen in the country, our leaders were called to Delhi, NCCRS leaders, including Comrade Kedar and other leaders were called to Delhi, and for negotiation, and they were arrested. On arrival at Delhi station, they were arrested and put under the bars of Tihar jail. So the committee, the NCCRS has actually decided to go on strike from 1974 May 8th. But because the government has acted vigorously and they started arresting our leaders and putting behind the bars, we were forced to, the strike was started on 1st January 1974. I mean 1st May 1974. Instead of starting the strike in on 8th May 1974. That is history. But you see, comrades, the participation of local staff was in the strike was decided not a unanimous, under a unanimous decision. Because of the atrocities we had to face from the recognized federations, especially from All India Railwaymen's Federation and their Mazdoor Union and other unions in the country, some of our leaders was hesitating to take a joint decision or unanimous decision to enter into the strike. But because of the hectic and the clever leadership of Comrade Kedar, a meeting, CWC meeting was called at Vijayawada, where a unanimous decision could not be taken. So a majority decision was taken to join in the 74th strike, railwayman strike. Otherwise, we should have thrown in the waste baskets of railwayman struggle and the blacklegs in the strike. Means our association should have to face a very bad illusion and a bad name in the history of railway trade union movements and the railwaymen's struggle. This strike was success. In Kerala, Bengal and other states, it was somewhat full. In Ernakulam area, complete 3 locomotives were fire dropped. All the stations were locked. All the stations and booking counters were locked. And nobody, no ticket issuing or ticket counter or anything, no parcel, everything. It was a complete lockdown. But the Southern Railway Employees संघ was acting against this strike. They were telling that there is no word strike in their bylaw. So they did not take part. They were pinpointing the leaders of the strike and they were making profit out of the strike by searching for loyal workers and false complaints against the leaders. So, see, in the strike, because of a false complaint from one Sangh man from Cochin, Comrade K.K. Lieutenant Sena was arrested and was taken, handcuffed and taken to Ernakulam sub-jail, making him to walk through the corridors of the Marine Drive. At that time, you see, Marine Drive was a wall like this thing. There was no this GCDA complex or anything like that, no buildings, anything.
Outside, sir.
In the front of the Pentamenaga, and there was a theatre, Lakshman Theatre, I mean Menaga Theatre, and they were taken. Like that, so many people were under this Misa. Misa was issued against all the leaders, including myself. Some leaders like Comrade V.K. Srikumar and one Mr. Padalni of Shornur, M. Padalni of Shornur, and so many leaders were arrested and sent to Viyur Central Jail. Because of there was a decision that the leaders should not get arrested. We should avoid arrest. But you see, the leaders from Southern Railway Master Union at that time, they willfully got arrested because they were fearing that if a removal comes on some pretext of sabotage or anything like that, they will have no chance to come back to railway. So they voluntarily went and got arrested. Some leaders of Ernakulam was also arrested like that. But that strike, 74 strike lasted for 28 days. Meantime, after 22nd of May, when the strike was in full swing, say about 25th or something, Comrade S.A. Danke, you might have heard, Comrade Danke, made a statement that people can join back for duty in gangs or wherever they feel inconvenience to continue the strike. So, otherwise the strike should have been continued with the full this. So, on hearing that words, so many people in so many places joined the strike. Joined back for duty. So, Comrade Danke was the main reason for the break of strike, 74 railway strike. They arrested George Fernandez in Baroda dynamite case and put under the bars. And so many people. Baroda dynamite case was a sabotage case. Meantime, government came forward with a proposal. A 3-point formula was given by Srimati Indira Gandhi that you withdraw the strike first, then we will go for negotiation and our demands will be discussed and resolved. But our NCCRS committee was not in a position to accept that and withdraw the strike because it was such a powerful strike. See the galleries in India, they could not move out even a single wagon of coal to the thermal plant and other places. And also the അസംസ്കൃത വസ്തുക്കൾ അതായത് raw materials could not be to the factories. So the government was having very huge loss to the economy of our India country. So the government started acting more and more vigorously and brutally to the striking people. In Ernakulam area at that time, Sri K. Karunakaran was the Home Minister of Kerala under the Chief Ministership of Achyutamenu. He was very brutally suppressing our strike, arresting our people. Only one question. Are you ready to go for job? Or if your answer is no, you will be going to the jail. Like that was the suppressive method he was practicing. And the people in the list of leaders were being hunted by the police under Misa. So we had to go in camera. You have to go behind we were running from here and there. That was the situation. Finally, but moreover, there was another feature also there for that strike. See, the railwaymen's strike was a very hasty and very short notice only the strike was formed. So there was no preparation to protect our case, railway our case. At the same time, there was a strike in England also, there was a strike. The people of coal galleries in England, they went for a strike, similar type. But their strike lasted for 3 months because they had collected struggle fund and made a preparation, and they could last the strike for 3 months. But in Indian Railway, after 20 days, we could not prolong because our people were very hasty to go for duty, fearing removal. At that time, there was another factor also, because there is no hope for a change of government in India. So, once you are removed from service, you had no hope of coming back. That was the situation that time. So our people also were not too prepared. They were in a hasty to come back for duty and save their jobs. So the leaders of NCCRS and the local staff were in a hectic job that we have to conduct meetings in every place, like Ernakulam and the remote area in a secret, and encourage and put encourage the workers to continue the strike. At that time, we had help, very great help from the other trade unions in like NGO Union, CITU, AITUC, and other trade unions. They were collecting rice, tapioca, and other materials and supplying to the railway families in railway quarters and other places. Comrade AKG was camping at Ernakulam along with his wife. Even though he was sick at that time, he was camping at Ernakulam. He was the leader of opposition in parliament. So he was camping at Ernakulam and guiding the locomen and other railway workers who were in strike and helping them. For example, I will cite one example of one Alikunya, who was a gangman residing at Mattanjeri railway quarters. He had 4 or 5 daughters. One of his daughters' marriage was fixed and he wanted to put a pandal in front of his quarters. When the police authorities came there, rushed to his house and asked him to go for duty, otherwise the pandal will be demolished and you cannot conduct this marriage. So you go to jail or you conduct a meeting. First you decide whether you are withdrawing from the strike. That was the question the police officer asked, DYSP. Then knowing this fact, Comrade AKG and his wife rushed to Mattanjeri halt and he asked the DYSP, you cannot demolish this pandal. If you want to demolish it, you will be doing it on stepping on my dead body. So, they could not do anything. They allowed the marriage to continue. So, such very rare examples of courage and examples were there in that strike. Meantime, so many people were arrested, so many were transferred.
Sir, can you say other than Lakshman Sreenai, who were arrested at that time?
V.K. Srikumar, V.K. Unnikrishnan, M. Padani,
from Kochi.
Sharnoor.
From Kochi.
From Kochi, 400 casual laborers were arrested. And were removed from service arbitrarily.
Okay.
Casual laborers.
In case of running staff.
For example, Kamaladharan, like that, the casual laborers. There were casual laborers in local sheds. They were removed from service. Arrested only one Gangadharan Pillai, PW was arrested here. Like that. But in Palaka, Olavakode, 3 or 4 people, Sharnoor, N.C. George was arrested, driver. Like that, V.K. Unnikrishnan was arrested. M. Palani was arrested, M. Palani. Like that, so many people were arrested.
So, role of judiciary in our setbacks.
In other people, myself was transferred to Mysore division. Comrade Tommachi was transferred to Tiruchirappalli division. P.K. Mohanapanikar was transferred to Madurai or some division like that. And so many people from Mysore, one Iyer was transferred to Ernakulam. Trivandrum division. Trivandrum division was not there, he was transferred. And one man from Trichy also was transferred. Like that, so many, and so many people were given break in services. So, after the strike was a failure, we are to withdraw the strike without any agreement. That is a strike, you have to say. But the thing is that because of the economical impact caused by the railway strike, Srimati Indira Gandhi declared national emergency in 1975, August 25th. August 25th, 1975, emergency was declared, and so many leaders of various parties were put under the bars. And the newspapers and other things were there. They were not allowed to publish the real things. So the slogan was, fold your tongue and work for the nation. That was Navadakku Paniyadukku. That was the slogan raised by the Srimati Indira Gandhi during emergency. So if you talk something against the emergency or against the railway bureaucracy, you will be immediately removed from service or you will be arrested. That was the situation.
Sir, role of judiciary in our setbacks or achievements? Role of judiciary.
നമ്മൾ കേസ് കൊടുത്ത് നമ്മൾ ന്യായമായിട്ട് വാങ്ങിച്ചിട്ടുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങളെ പറ്റി അത്
See, 1974, when myself and one Elayade, partial clerk of SRMU, we went to the High Court against the 14-2 removal. So, a judgment was declared by the High Court of Kerala in that thing. So, but there was no clear-cut order to take us back to service. Only the court was also pro-administration at that time. They said that if an employee going for strike or going on absentee cannot be tamed, it cannot be a reason for removing arbitrarily from service. Meantime, in 1977, after the emergency was withdrawn and the Janata Dal formation was there, a change of government occurred. Janata Dal came into power. Then all the people of 74 strike were taken back by an executive order by the then Railway Minister Madhudan Tawade, treating the entire period as a duty, leave. So I also came back to service. That was in 77.
2 years you are. For more than 2 years you are.
3 years, more than 3 years.
Role of other trade unions
Eh?
in our achievements.
Eh?
Role of other trade unions.
Role of other trade union means AILRSA was also a part of the NCCRS. They went and apologized to the railway administration that their people could come back earlier before the Janata Dal government coming to power. They came back to it. And the NFIR was in a job to get their loyal increment for helping the railway administration for breaking the strike. And also the NFIR leaders and the ARF leaders or the blacklegs at that time, they were engaging people as loyal workers. You see, so many people have engaged people, including our TU Varies of Southern Railway Employees Sangh. He has engaged a man who has no relationship or anything like that, stating that he is my relative, he is my brother, co-brother, like that. And they were taking money. And they were getting loyal increment. 74 strike, there was people who are pro-administration were getting loyal increments. That was the situation. Southern Railway Mazdoor Union, their leaders who were removed from service, they went for apology and they apologized in the name of God, and some people came back to service. For example, one Ismail Khan Rautar, who was the ARF, SRMU, and one Bhaskaran Master, who was SRMU Station Master here. And like so many people came back to service.
Did we got help from any trade union at that time? Because I think DRU.
The DRU 74 strike, they are also suffered a lot. Well,
Actually, the
Venkadi was removed.
SM.
Venkadesan, SM. And so many other people removed. And RG Pilla was under suspension for 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
And so many other people, DRU also.
Actually, DRU only helped us to.
Not only DRU. DRU means they have got the people catered to work, but they are not showing courage to come forward.
The employees Sangh and the Mazdoor Union was.
Mazdoor Union, after the strike,
They
were asking our people also to join in Mazdoor Union, and they will safeguard our job and everything. But we have no belief, and we did not hear their words. We said that we will fight out our cases through our association. We cannot succumb to the pressure of Mazdoor Union and go as beggars in their union. That was the stand we had taken. Also, the duty, 8 hours, 10 hours duty order was not implemented even after so many years. So 1978, our people were, AILRSA gave another notice for strike. So the then Railway Board Chairman Menezes called our people and discussed. AILRSA were planning for a strike. So meantime, Railway Board was forced to give our 10 hours duty order. Okay. Then implementing 10 hours duty order, and at that time they constructed some running rooms at Chalakudi, running room at Trichur, running room at Ernakulam North, like that.